Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Rambling Addiction, the show where I talk and you listen. Tonight, we're going to be traveling through space and time, back to Christmas, which was just a few days ago when recording, but probably a few weeks ago when dropping. Okay, it's a Doctor Who episode, guys. I'm going to be reviewing the Doctor Who Christmas special, Joy to the World, so you know the drill. Cue that theme song.
Rambling Addiction, yeah, you're hanging out with Lucas. Manga, animator, anything, alright, let's do this. Weekly is the basis, worst generation. Cooking up a feast while he's turning through the pages. Theories that he's making, from shonen to seinen. Locked in, analyzing, using observation. Yeah, observation. Rambling Addiction.
So we are back after I believe, 6-month break from Doctor Who. We last saw the 15th Doctor during the whole shebang with Sutekh. And, of course, his lovely companion, Ruby Sunday, left the TARDIS after just one series.
Ruby Sunday. Goodbye.
So we are back with Ncuti's 15th Doctor. I was very, very excited for this episode. Let's do a small bit of recap as we go through how I felt about the episode, shall we? Starting with the introduction before we get to the main title sequence, which, by the way, the title sequence that they've been doing for the 15th Doctor so far, I've loved every single bit of it. The upgraded graphics, the theme song sounds amazing. I believe Murray Gold is the one who's still doing the theme song, composer-wise, and it's just chef's kiss, you know?
So good and tasty.
But yeah, so we get into the introduction of the episode, and we see the Doctor traveling from tent to tent and hotel room to hotel room. He ends up on the Orient Express, which this is the third time Moffat, who wrote this episode, has referenced the Orient Express. So, what are you doing, Moffat? Why do you keep doing this, Moffat? What is your obsession with this train? So we see the Doctor going through all of these different hotel rooms with I believe they call it a cheese toasty, and it's a cup of tea. What is it? What is he fucking taking? And some kind of latte, right? So we see the Doctor going from hotel room to hotel room, and even into a tent on the expedition up Mount Everest for the first time. And he's asking everybody, cheese toasty and something latte. I can't remember exactly what it was. I believe peppermint or pumpkin. He's like, yes, latte, cheese toasty.
Almond cheese toasty and a pumpkin latte.
And of course, none of these people have it until he comes into a room where we meet our main character, Miss Joy. Now, there is a little bit of setup before this, right? So he comes into a room where we meet our new side character for this Christmas special, companion, if you want to. I really wouldn't call her that after the events of the episode, but we'll get there. But yes, we meet Joy, and she's all alone on Christmas, paying a fairly good price for a hotel in London on Christmas Eve. And she has this whole, I'm very lonely, sad conversation with a fly, which was really well written, if I'm being honest. I'm not familiar with this actress's work. I know that she's very popular at the moment, that she's done some work in Bridgerton. I'm not going to try and say her name. I'll throw up a picture and her name on the screen, but I'm not going to try. I will butcher that last name. I know myself. But yes, this small little sad monologue that she has with the fly about being lonely and I thought I was going to be alone this Christmas and stuff was very well done, very well written, very Moffat-esque, if I'm being honest. So that is a point already in the right direction for me. But then we see the Doctor come in and he's like, cheese toasty and a pumpkin latte.
Cheese toasty and a pumpkin latte.
And there's a Solarian there as well, who is holding a briefcase with it chained to his hand, but you don't really see it at that moment, right? You can see he's holding it, but your attention's not there. Your attention's to the Doctor who's just barged in here acting like he's room service or something. We then get the opening credit sequence, which I'd already praised, but I gotta say it again, just looks so good lately. Play, so good. Chef clip. You know what you're talking about, Lucas. To speak about the introduction just a little bit, I love when they do timey-wimey stuff, but at the same time, I feel like this was a bit different than most of the times that they do this kind of stuff, where it's obviously, Doctor Who is being a time travel show. You often see things out of order, and that's exactly how they did it this episode. I don't know, the setup of this was just different to me. It hit, but at the same time, it didn't. I don't know how to explain it. But so we see the Doctor, right, and he's in the time hotel that we found out in 4202. Very nonchalant, I wonder where you came up with that number, Moffat. I really don't know. Dude, just literally reversed the year that this was coming out. Anyway, yes, we are in the Time Hotel. The Doctor comes out of the TARDIS. He's carrying 2 mugs and a paper. And funnily enough, the paper's called the Timey-Wimey News or something like that. Me and my wife noticed that. I laughed pretty hard at that, I ain't gonna lie. And this is where we meet Trev, one of the first tertiary characters of the episode. Him and the Doctor quickly form a bond, and they notice this man checking into the hotel, or waiting to check into the hotel, I should say, because he's turned down at first, with a large briefcase, which I believe is a Pulp Fiction reference.
We happy? Vincent! We happy?
Yeah, we happy.
Whether it's a Quentin Tarantino reference or not aside, I love Trev so much. I'm gonna go on a little tangent here as we get into the other events past this point, and Trev was just so innocent. I saw some Doctor Who YouTubers, no, Lucas, don't slander them. That's what got you in trouble last time. I saw some other reviewers on here talking about how Trev didn't land for them. Trev landed 150% for me. Like, everything this man said, I was wrapped around his figure point. I was like, this is it. This better be the new companion. I need 15 series of Ncuti Gatwa and Trev traveling around the universe of the TARDIS. That might overdo it. But nonetheless, I did really enjoy this character. And to see, as the Doctor goes to explore the rest of the hotel, Trev is like watching the guy with the suitcase as he goes into his bar. We find the bartender gets taken by the suitcase chain. It's like sentient. And whoever it attaches to, what is it? They say the flesh will rise. I rambled already. But yes, Trev goes into this bar and his bartender friend has got it on his wrist. The guy who had just had the suitcase on his wrist has already passed away and faded into what can only be described as stardust. And we see that sadly, our boy Trev is taken by the suitcase. And as we've just seen, not only the man who originally had it and the bartender pass, we know that Trev is gonna go soon, guys. Throw up an in memoriam for Trev. Now, Trev goes under the control of this case, the flesh will rise, to meet with someone at the clearance levels to open every door so that they can find what they are looking for, which we, the audience, do not know yet. And he finds a Solarian manager who has access to any room he wants. He has the universal key card that allows him to go into all the rooms. And Trev passes the case on to him. And this is where we get to see Trev's final moments. I know I'm going back to Trev. Throw up another memorial. And Trev sadly passed away, as he says,
"Oh dear. I went and let him down."
So let's break the audience's heart, Lucas. We then get to, after the Doctor sees the Solarian entering a hotel room, to the point that we had seen in the introduction before the credits sequence. And Joy is freaking out, trying to figure out what's going on in her room, and the Solarian and the Doctor are kind of having a back and forth about the case, and the Doctor being intrigued by it, and the Solarian just take the case and all will be revealed. Take the case and all will be revealed. And it's this really funny and tense moment, I'm not going to lie, and Joy's actress was going ham here, being like, are you trying to mansplain me? And the Doctor being like, yes, I am. Like, the whole sequence had me laughing. I'm not gonna lie. It was very well done, very on-brand Moffat humor. Almost reminded me, if I'm honest, it almost reminded me of the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, which was like one of the peaks of Moffat's era. Like the way he would interact with Amy and Rory almost. So Joy, unfortunately, during this whole kerfuffle, gets handcuffed to the case, right? So her life is immediately in danger. The Doctor tends to the Solarian as he slowly fades into the stars. Now, I have to say, my main issue with season 1, besides the awful twist with Ruby Sunday, was Ncuti's crying, if I'm honest. I think it's awesome that we have an emotional doctor. It's something I've wanted to see for a long time. A doctor who's so in tune with his emotions that things that would upset a normal human are starting to get to him, right? It's because of how old he is, what he has been through recently, the healing he did as the 14th Doctor, what he learned as the 13th Doctor, and all of that is catching up to him, right? And he's breaking. So I get the reason they had him cry so often in the first season, and I was really worried when the Solarian was passing, and he's like telling him like, no, you're a brave warrior, you're a Solarian, you're the original inhabitant of this planet, like, which was really well written, by the way. I do have to give that props right there. But I thought that we were going to get more season 1 type of stuff where he's going to be crying real heavy and there's going to be a lot of very, very emotional, but it was very reserved what Ncuti did in this episode. Very, very, very reserved. I think it was like 1 or 2 tears going down his cheeks as he's trying to comfort the Solarian as he passes on. And I think that this is a step in the right direction. As I just said, I do enjoy the fact that we're having a more emotional Doctor. So it was cool to see that they took the criticism that a lot of fans had and kind of pulled it back without damaging what they were trying to build with this specific Doctor, if that makes sense. After this, we find out exactly what is in this case, and it is a star. Yes, this is a star that needs to be cooked, basically. Like, it needs to sit on a planet for a long, long amount of time and get enough time to develop into a proper star, right? That is what they're doing at the Time Hotel. They're going around from room to room, trying to find the exact time period they need so that they have enough time to let the star develop. And this is the most interaction we get between Joy and the Doctor, for about 5 minutes of it, actually. And then, and this is where the first issue I had with the episode arose, right? I am a big fan of one-off companions within Doctor Who. I think of Astrid during Voyage of the Dam, for example. Very, very well done, one episode character. And that is exactly what I was looking for here in Joy. And as I said, this is my big problem with the episode, is that we get separated from her like 10 minutes into the episode and don't see her again for another like 20 minutes, I think. It's something like that, and I may be over-exaggerating, but this bothered me because I want that one-off companion, right? I need that one-off companion. It's what's going to have me invested in this episode even more than just the Doctor being there and being the Doctor, which is a good sell. I'm not going to lie. Ncuti's been killing it as the Doctor. I've already said that. I've already stood 10 toes in the ground saying I like Ncuti as the Doctor, but nonetheless, we did end up getting a really good companion in this episode. It just wasn't the one that I thought it would be. And I am talking, of course, about Anita.
Should be working fine now.
Yes, but it seems to be bigger on the inside.
Is it not supposed to be?
Blockage in 28.
Is this armed?
Now, the Doctor gets stuck there because when he shuts the case, he needs a code or else it'll detonate. And the Doctor from a year in the future comes and is like, you have to go the long way around, and takes Joy and runs back into the time door. So that's happening. Another bootstrap paradox. Moffat, we know you love your bootstrap paradoxes. And so the Doctor stays in this hotel for a full year until he can go to New Year's Eve 2025 in New York to get back into the Time Hotel. During this year, he finds companionship in Anita, the manager of the hotel here. And I've got to say, I'm going to brush past this a little bit, but this was my favorite part of the episode. I do enjoy the rest of the story and everything, but the story that we got between Anita and the Doctor in these sequential tellings of the year were just perfect. I loved it. And after the line of like, you don't have any chairs and you don't even notice, like, and that's why no one comes to visit. And the line with, you don't have any chairs and that's why no one comes to visit, that Ncuti says to himself when the bootstrap happens. And then seeing that as the year goes on, he's learning to be, I don't know, more open with people and just slowing down and talking with people. It's a very human side of the Doctor that we don't get to see very often, but I know a lot of fans feel the same way. I do love when we get to see it. It's weird to see the Doctor live day to day like that, but it's a fantastic thing to see when we do get to see it. Unless he's in the pocket watch, then he's a little bit of an asshole.
Where's the watch?
Oh, I see. Cultural differences.
It must be so confusing for you.
So now we get to the point where Joy and the Doctor have reunited, and I will say this is my second favorite part of the episode. Not because of anything Joy does, but because of the way Ncuti acts. For a brief moment, he is, I don't even want to say mean. This is just hyper aggressive. The things he says to Joy is just heartbreaking on a whole different level. And to see Ncuti do this after how he was in the first season was just amazing. The guy's got range, right? And I was worried because, he was filming, I believe, Sex Education during the first season, so we didn't get a lot of episodes that were heavy focused on Ncuti's 15th Doctor. So I was worried about it a little bit, like what else is his range besides crying? And I was very, very pleasantly surprised here.
Question for you, seriously. When you tell people your name, do they laugh? I'm Joy. Does everybody burst out laughing? When your mother looked into your squishy little baby face and named you Joy, was it a joke, do you think? Was she having a laugh?
And then, of course, this breaks Joy out of it. She's able to get the handcuff off of her, and it gets swallowed by a T-Rex. But she breaks down and hugs the Doctor, and it's a really, really well-written moment. And it just goes to show that Moffat's still got it. He gave us such a good run through Smith's era and, oh my god, Chef's Kiss, Capaldi's era. Heaven sent, hell bent, please, yes. But no, no, he did a really good run there for a long time, and this is something I've missed from Doctor Who, especially during the Chibnall era. And it was good to see this come back. I'm going to be real. I like this a lot, and learning about Joy's mother and not being able to see her during COVID, as it's such a recent event in human history, this really hit me hard, I won't lie. Because while I didn't lose anyone personally to COVID, I know a lot of people who did. And we all know a lot of people who did. So the bold choice to have this as a point in the episode, bravo, Mr. Stephen Moffat. Bravo. So we then get to the climax of the episode, right? They figure out where the dinosaur would have either passed and laid with the star or past the star. And then we see the Doctor run back to the Everest camp, grab a rope, which... what's he say? I'm really good with rope, which is a callback to the last year's Christmas special. I love a good callback. But he goes to the Everest camp, grabs the rope, goes to the Orient Express, comments on this chick's love life, ties it, takes the rope, throws it off the Orient Express, and pulls like the lid off this, what looks like Middle Eastern, Sumerian, Mesopotamia style tomb so that he can get to the star. Mistakenly, he left Joy there. And I have to say, I really, really like how they did the ending to this episode. I am a sucker for feel-good, punch-me-in-the-heart kind of endings in Doctor Who. One of my favorite of Matt Smith's era, which I believe every Whovian loves this, is Vincent and the Doctor, which also has one of those feel-good, punchy-in-the-heart kind of endings, because even though Vincent does end up still going down the course that he did in his original timeline, Amy and the Doctor know that for a brief moment they've made him happy. And even though Joy is passing here, she's not only saving the world, but as we see, being able to reunite with her mother in some way as she takes her mother into the star that she makes. And it turns out that the place that the star was born and chose its spot in the sky was Polaris, shining over Bethlehem as Jesus Christ is born. Now, I'm not a very religious man. Usually when there's a ham-fisted message about Christianity thrown in there, I'm not the biggest fan. That said, I never knock religion because to have faith is a beautiful thing in of itself. But I did enjoy this. I smiled a little bit. My wife was like, no way they pulled that off, because they don't really ever touch on Jesus, even though it's a time travel show. There is that bit that David Tennant does was when he talks about taking the last room and that's the reason that Jesus was born in the manger and whatnot. But they've never really done something like this to solidify that the doctor was there at the birth. Besides that one-off joke, which means that David Tennant's doctor is down there while Shooty's doctor is like up there being like, haha, yes, Merry Christmas, joy to the world. But yes, overall, a very, very good Christmas special. I think Shooty really reminds me of the Ninth Doctor. I made a joke in my season 1 review Rambling Addiction episode that it felt like Russell T Davies was like just rehashing everything he did in season 1 of Doctor Who. But he really did feel like Christopher Eccleston's doctor there for a good chunk of this episode, like especially when he was laying on to Joy, which I know Eccleston's doctor wasn't like an ass or anything like that, but he had that gruffer exterior to him, especially in the episode Dalek. And yeah, I really love that side of the doctor, and it's not one that we get to see often. You know, Tennant did it with Time Lord Victorious. Matt Smith never really did it. He got very boastful when he was like angry and stuff. Like he'd be like, come on then, all of you. I love seeing that side of the Doctor. But yeah, overall, I'm not going to give this a rating out of 10 or anything. I'm just going to say I was very satisfied with it. Wasn't the worst Doctor Who Christmas special. Not the best, but still a very good Doctor Who Christmas special. And I won't even lie, this is now has some of my favorite moments from Shooty's Doctor so far in it. And in closing, I think that this Christmas special is a good sign of what's to come for Series 2, at least when it comes to what direction they're taking the Doctor in. As I'd said early in the video, we really didn't see much of Shooty's Doctor in Season 1 because of his prior scheduling commitments. And I think that really hurt the season, especially when we had episodes like Dot and Bubble, Boom, and 73 Yards back-to-back, where it was not really a Doctor-focused episode, even though Boom is a bottleneck episode with the Doctor, and I called it an instant classic. I stand by that. Nonetheless, it was really about the characters around him. Still, I think that reeling in Shooty's emotional responses to things like death and even Joy's sacrifice, thing like that, was the right direction from Russell and Moffat this Christmas special. And I really hope to see more of that stability from Shooty's Doctor going forward. I love that he's emotional. It's one of my favorite aspects of him. Same way I love how often he's changing his clothes. Like, I love that we have a fashionista Doctor now. That man's got drip. I won't lie. So I am really excited for Season 2, especially after the teaser trailer we got at the end of the Christmas special. And not only that, but why did we not see Mrs. Flood during the Christmas special? That is the question that is bothering me the most. But yeah, so overall thoughts. Great Christmas special. I know I'm kind of rambling here at the end. I didn't have a final thoughts prepped out for this one like I do with most of them, because I'm just hyped for Season 2, guys. That's really the final thought that I have after watching this. All it did was make me excited to see what next season is going to behold. I'm really excited to see the new companion, Belinda. Really curious. She was in Boom as well. I can't remember the actress's name. I'll probably throw it up on screen with the name. But yeah. We will see you guys next time. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that YouTube stuff. Let me know though down below what you thought of the Christmas special. Even if you hated it, I love to have a good, healthy discussion about Doctor Who. It is one of my favorite series of all time. So yeah, I've been StrawHatLucas, Captain of the Eternal Dawn. And more importantly than anything else that I have said in this entire video, I need all of you to have a wonderful, wonderful night.